Hi there, good morning. Tad Arger from Marketing for Hippies here in my living room in Edmonton. And today's video is about scarcity in marketing. I got an email from a colleague of mine. And this is what he wrote. He said, I'm curious about your take on marketing. I feel you have a very informed, unique perspective on this. So I recently opened up one of my programs so that people can register anytime. So my sense is it's an evergreen program. The reason I'm doing this is because as I analyzed my mission, I confronted the idea that if I truly feel these programs help writers, why would I withhold that help to wait for a launch? In doing so, I'm mostly giving up on the fear of missing out marketing tactics that many other people use in promoting online courses and similar services. I was just going back through your website and rereading your bio. I remembered you telling me about an earlier part of your career when you did work with Tony Robbins. It's true. Franchise of his. You mention it in the bio, the more high pressure side of marketing, right? I'm curious of your take on this, on where the fear of missing out works because of human psychology, why many marketers use it constantly, even in ordinary things such as sales at a store and all alternatives to it. When I consider this type of thing, I often look at Robert Cialdini's book Influence because I see so many of his marketing tactics in use in everyday and how people sell online. Okay, so I made some notes here, but let's see what I can do with this. Okay, so the first thing to remember is scarcity is a part of the world. That's just, there are limits to the world. One of the great tragedies, of course, of modern economics is the unending growth, the understanding that there are no limits and proceeding as if that is true. So this constant growth, this addiction to more, this unwillingness to respect limits is deep at the heart of our, modern tragedies as humans. What is assault of all kinds except an unwillingness to respect the limits of others? Why all these conversations about consent? It's about limits. So, and we die. How about that? So there's a limit on that. There's a limit on everything. So everything is scarce in this material world. There's only so much of it. There's only so much water. There's only so much, air. We got this one planet we live on. Depending on what you believe, there's only this one life. So I just noticed that scarcity gets demonized a lot. And that what we should be doing is trying to, as if the goal is to eliminate all scarcity. Now, of course, a lot of scarcity is a mindset. One of the great privileges of my life was being mentored by Lynn Twist. I used to co-run and then eventually ran the youth portion of the State of the World Forum in San Francisco. And God bless Lynn, she would always take us in her home. She lived right by the Presidio there. And she wrote a book called The Soul of Money, which if you haven't read, I highly encourage you to read. And in it, she talks about, I think scarcity is a mindset. It's a way of seeing things. And that it's not very appealing for a funder when your pitch is, God, we're struggling so hard. Things are so rough and so awful. If you could just help us survive. Because another person in the exact same situation with the exact number of resources could say, we're doing great. It's amazing what we've achieved so far with so little. We don't even need your money, but we want it because here's the goal that we want to achieve. And you could partner with us in achieving this goal. We'll give our time, you give your money, and together we can make this happen. And nothing's changed in the circumstance, yeah? But if you try to invite people to help you fill this scarcity gap, nobody wants to, because it seems like you're putting money into a sinking ship. But if it's the sufficiency gap, and she talks about this, the opposite of scarcity is kind of this abundance or overabundant. It's too much versus sufficiency, just enough, the right amount. The bed's too hard, the bed's too soft, the bed's just right. Okay, so it's normal that we have scarcity, and there's only so much of our time that we can work with clients. Even if you said, okay, that's all I'm going to do full-time is just work with clients. And let's say there was enough of a demand. Well, if there's a certain point, you don't have any more hours. You can cut into your sleep for a while, but even that'll catch up with you eventually. You'll burn out and won't be able to work. So maybe that's the frame I want to put on this. Let's not demonize scarcity. It's a sacred thing, scarcity. It really testifies to how life is if we're willing to pay attention. Now, of course, now we're online, we're on the internet, so you can have an ebook and it can be out there, forever, and there's no limit to it. And of course, this doesn't come without consequence to the world. Even this video that you're watching right now is making a little hole in the world. And so my job is to see if I can make it worth it. See if I can be faithful to what it's costing the world for this video to stay up there on the internet. You write a blog, the internet is not a carbon neutral event. It's not without its immense cost to the ecosystems of the planet. So let's just not pretend that because we can't see the impact and the consequence, that it's not there. Okay, taking a long time to get to my point, aren't I? So here's the thing. If you have an evergreen program, and I have one, the Niching Spiral, helping people with their niche, it's a 90-day program. And that doesn't really have any of my personal time in it. And so I don't have the same with my colleague. I don't have the launch factor to it. Though, there are some things you could do. You could make changes to it and re-announce it at that point. You probably get some more buy-in. You could offer a sale, a discount to come into this existing thing, and that discount could be there for a limited time. So there are still ways, this can happen. Once a year for my birthday, I do a 50% off sale of all my products, including the home study program. And I get a lot of sales at that point. So I don't know, for me, that's a way of just saying thank you. This isn't sustainable forever. It's like, but if you were going to throw a feast for your friends, well, you can't do that every night. It takes a lot of effort to throw a feast. So you do it once in a while. My birthday every year, I gather my nearest and dearest and I give them gifts. I spend all year gathering gifts for my friends. So on my birthday, I'm the one that gives gifts, which feels proper because they're the ones who've sustained me through that past year. But I can only do that once a year, and barely. I mean, it costs me financially, energetically, emotionally to do that, and I'm glad to do it. So a sale, I think, is a similar thing. It's a way of saying thank you so much. You've been on my email list. You've been following me for a while. You took the risk. You get so many emails. So this is my little thank you. And yeah, it's a limited time. So, I'm doing what I can to help sustain you in this way. I'm not against launches, really. I do my meantime program, so I do that one once a year. And, I'm just in the middle of it as this recording. And there is something to live programs. There's something to the 30-day challenge. It's not the best thing. It's not any better than anything else. But there is something. Now, I could do a virtual 30-day challenge where it's just recorded videos. But of course, you don't have the community. You don't get that same sense of momentum, and we're all in it together. It's not live, so people's questions aren't being answered right in the moment, which you could in a live program. Now, you could have a sort of home study, and then there's the videos, and then you have an online community. My friend Brad Morris helps people build these, and with the great ecourseadventure.com. And this can be beautiful too. And then it's more, ongoing, and it's fine. That's beautiful. But sometimes I would just submit that there is a place for a live, intensely focused challenge. And there is a natural scarcity to that. There may be a limited number of people, maybe. You may not need to limit it. But for this one, it only happens January of every year. That's when I do the meantime challenge. So if you miss it, you have to wait for a year. But what's wrong with that? If let's say you want to do some indigenous ceremony and it happens seasonally. Well, if you miss it, you missed it. And this isn't the indigenous tribe or culture being vicious or mean or withholding or, practicing some sketchy marketing tactic. No, it's just that's when it happens. Oh, you weren't here? Well, then you missed it. Yeah, it's not here on demand. And this is part of the modern culture is on demand. Oh, I'm entitled to have what I want when I want it. So, that's worth saying. Another thing I want to say about this, as I check my notes, is these aren't Robert Cialdini's tactics. So Robert Cialdini, it's an incredible book called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. And he wrote it because he was a patsy. He would just fall for every single con artist. It happened a lot in his life. And he began to wonder, and this is a beautiful question. He said, is it that I'm a patsy and there's something wrong with me? Or could it be that there's actually something about the techniques that they use that make me prone, that make me compliant to them? And so he studied it. He went undercover and all these things, and he learned a lot. And he found there were these 6 laws of unconscious persuasion. He speaks about the ethical and unethical use about it. And in his book, he speaks about the ethical use of scarcity. So for example, if I'm doing a workshop in my living room and there's only 12 spaces, there's only 12 spaces. I mean, could I, if the numbers got big enough, get a bigger venue? Yeah, but that's a hassle. I might not want to do that. So why should I have to? So there's only 12 spaces. That's a real scarcity. When people say, I'll give you some examples of unethical scarcity, only 3 copies of this ebook. What? Like, no, there's not only 3 copies. Or I went to a sales letter one time, this fellow Robert Allen, and it had a counter on it. And, countdown, only 18 hours left in this offer. And I thought, oh, I should read this now. So that's a scarcity of time, yeah? So it worked. And if there really only had been 18 hours of time, I might have actually been grateful for the counter to just know, it's only a limited time. But I navigated away from the page and I refreshed it and the counter had started again. So it was bullshit. That offer was going to be there. Maybe it's still there to this day, So that's not cool. Also, we're in a day and age where people, I did another video about this, people aren't paying for content so much. There's so much content on the internet now. People are paying for context. They're paying for the understanding of why am I suffering? What's happening in my life that I'm struggling? Yeah, that's what people want to pay for. So something tailored, bespoke, something designed for them, of course, is going to be worth more for people. You know how it is. If I say, oh yeah, you've got this issue, well, just go on YouTube. There's probably a lot of answers to it. Oh my God. Yeah, there's a lot of answers, but there's too many answers. It's overwhelming. And if I said, look, you could do that for free, or for $500, I know somebody who I know can handle this, and you don't have to search around. I remember hearing somebody say years ago, easy is the new free. So most people would pay the money if they had it for the thing that they know is going to work versus having to design it all themselves. And as soon as we're talking about something bespoke, something tailored and designed, so for example, I have a mentorship program, 12 clients, it's $400 US a month, but they get a ton of my time and attention. And, I do the Puttering Sessions, one-on-one calls just for an hour where people are actually in my time and attention. And I've got all these ebooks. I've got like 700 blog posts. I have dozens of videos. So why don't they just do that? Because it's free. Because of course, time is so their time is scarce. Their time is precious. Yeah. So of course can I just get an answer? I mean, we've all had that maddening experience of some customer service thing, you have trouble and you call in and then you're in the voicemail jail. Because of course what they want you to do is solve it without talking to a human being. I mean, that's fine if it was easy, but no, is it easy? No, it's not. You got to dial around and your question is real simple and you want to tear your hair out. Like, could you just let me talk to a human being? Because I just have a question and it's not being answered, or on the FAQs on the website and there's no way to email somebody and reach them, and it makes you want to scream. So people want this. So, another thing I'd say, maybe the last thing, is that you can only scale something in business with the internet now if you remove access to you. Because your time is scarce. So that's the stopgap. So if you remove direct access to you, you can scale it. Even if it's a community where you have weekly office calls, well, you can only answer so many questions in an hour and a half that you do once a week or however often. Even if you do it every day, even if that's all you're doing is Q&A every day, you still only have so much time. So there still is a limit to scaling it. At a certain point, people would say, well, I'm not ever getting my questions answered, so I'm out. People will get cranky about that. I started something called streetcar shows in Edmonton, and there's only 32 seats on the streetcar, and once a week there's a show, and there have about 1,500 people on the email list, and people have been on it for years and not gotten into the show because they sell out so fast. It's a real scarcity. There's only so many seats on the streetcar. So I guess in summary, scarcity is a real thing. And sometimes it's more real than other times. In the case of an ebook or an online course, well, you can offer it to however many people you want. There's no limit technically to that. And some things there are limits. So let's just be honest when the limits are there, and tell people. It is useful to let people know how many seats are left. People will get cranky at you if you don't tell them how many seats are left. What? I didn't know it was going to sell out. If you told me, I would have bought sooner. So, people do want to know these things. Anyways, there's a lot there. There's probably some questions you may have, which I'd love to hear. So if you have any questions about scarcity, you want to push back, you disagree with me on something, you want clarification on something, please put questions below. And if you've made it to this point in the video, amazing. Please subscribe to me on YouTube. You can subscribe. There's a little bell you can click to get notifications of this. And if you're on Facebook, like my page, and you'll be the first to know about these videos. So that's it. Wow, this is a long video, but this is a really important topic. I would like to hear your questions on this. Thanks so much. Take care, everyone.